What's up, party people? Man, the internet is undefeated, huh? I'll give this friendly reminder to some of my friends out there that you can't believe everything you read, see, or hear on the internet. Especially when they're all lies. No proof, just made up lies.
What if I told you that it wasn't Jackie, but Chris Webber who gave the most shocking testimony in this entire scandal? Yes, you heard that right. For years, people believed Jackie was at the center of it all. But when Chris finally broke his silence, the courtroom didn't just get stirred up, it exploded. And right in the middle of that eruption was Doug Christie, blindsided and humiliated not just in front of the media and the legal system, but in front of his own daughter. Chris stood up and said the words that no one expected, especially not Doug. She lied. About everything. The baby. The dates. The affair. All of it. He didn't just say it, he proved it. Letters, receipts, voicemails, and even a paternity test all presented right there, in court. Each piece of evidence had Jackie's name on it.
So I'm gonna take this opportunity to issue my one and only advisory. If you have a platform and you have content with my name attached to lies, take it down now. And to those that started the rumor, that started the lies and then continued to spread the lies, I dare you not to take it down. I dare you to repeat a lie. You're not going to defame my name. Of course the lawyers are in action. Of course the lawyers are in motion and are motivated.
For years, Jackie had built a world based on deception. She told Doug that he was the father of her child. She said there had been no one else. She swore it was all real. But when Chris exposed her, everything she had worked to protect came crashing down in seconds. And that wasn't even the worst part. Chris entered the courtroom calm, dressed in a sharp suit, looking like a man on a mission not to defend himself, but to destroy a lie that had lasted nearly 2 decades. You could feel the mood shift the moment he sat down. Even the judge leaned forward in his seat, sensing something massive was about to be revealed. When the bailiff asked him to state his name, Chris hesitated for a second, then said, "Christopher Webber." You could hear Jackie gasp. Doug's lawyer froze mid-sentence. There was an objection shouted from Jackie's side, but the judge raised his hand and said sternly, "Overruled. Let him speak."
If anyone else that wants some insight and a story or some tools of how to get through the distractions, how to stay focused during the bull, go get my book. By God's grace. By God's grace. By God's grace. It's crazy. The enemy wants us to be distracted, man. You gotta put your blinders on. Stay focused, man. Stay focused, man. Stay focused.
And speak he did. Chris reached into his jacket and pulled out a small manila envelope. He held it up and said, "This envelope holds the truth we've all been avoiding for the last 20 years. Inside were hotel receipts, handwritten letters, voicemails, and most importantly, a DNA test dated from late 2003 to early 2004, right when Jackie told Doug she was away filming with Vihon. That timeline? It matched Chris's evidence exactly. Doug looked like he had been punched in the gut. His hand fell from the table, and you could hear the way his breath caught in his chest. Chris turned toward him and said, "I'm sorry, man. I should have told you earlier. She lied to both of us. But you didn't deserve to find out this way. Shantel's not my daughter. She told me she was yours. She lied about it all." The courtroom exploded into chaos. Jackie's team yelled objections. Character assassination. One of them shouted. But the judge had enough. Miss Christie, you speak again and you'll be removed from this courtroom, he barked while slamming the gavel. Doug stood, shaking, barely able to speak. He looked at Jackie like he didn't even know who she was anymore. You told me she was mine, he whispered, his voice caught in the microphone. You told me there was no one else. Jackie sat frozen. Her lips were pale, trembling. Her eyes, wide and hollow. Chris wasn't done. He continued, I didn't come here to hurt you, Doug. But the lies have gone too far. Jackie begged me to stay quiet. She said the truth would ruin everything. But after watching you go through a divorce, public humiliation, and even being arrested, I couldn't live with myself anymore. The prosecutor asked Chris to read one of the letters out loud. He pulled out a worn, yellowed page from the envelope. His voice cracked as he read. Chris, no one can ever know. Doug can't find out, not now, not ever. You made a mistake, and I'll hide it. I won't regret it, but I'll blame it on Doug's strong genes if the baby looks like you. Don't ruin me. Please. Jade. Doug collapsed into his chair as if the ground beneath him had given way. Shantel, sitting in the second row, began to cry and ran out of the courtroom. Outside, the media went into a frenzy. Headlines like Doug Christie crushed and Weber's truth bomb shakes courtroom were already flooding social media. The judge had to call for a 30-minute break just to let people cool down. Jackie tried to stand but collapsed. A bailiff caught her as medical staff were called in. Doug sat there, shell-shocked, not saying a word, like a man trying to piece together a reality that no longer made sense. But Chris wasn't finished. When court resumed, Chris returned to the stand. This time, he was even more composed, colder, but calmer. He shared how Jackie had reached out to him just a year earlier. She was afraid the truth might come out. She offered him money to stay quiet. She even threatened to accuse him of harassment if he ever went public. That's when Chris said he realized Jackie never cared about Doug. She was only trying to save her own reputation. Doug finally spoke. His voice cracked, barely audible. You were going to let me die never knowing the truth? After everything? I raised her. I loved her like my own. Jackie still said nothing. Her silence was all the confirmation anyone needed. The judge thanked Chris for his honesty and excused him. Outside the courthouse, Chris was mobbed by reporters. They asked if he planned to fight for custody, if he still had feelings for Jackie, and why he chose now to speak out. He ignored most questions, but paused when one reporter shouted, "Do you regret ever getting involved with Jackie Christie?" Chris smiled faintly and replied, "Yeah, but not for the reasons you think. I regret ever believing she told the truth." Back inside, things were about to get worse. Doug's legal team was already preparing a lawsuit against Jackie. The charges? Fraud, emotional distress, and parental deception. They accused her of knowingly allowing Doug to raise a child that wasn't his while benefiting financially from it. Private school tuition, brand deals, family endorsements, all funded by Doug under the belief that Shantel was his biological daughter. And just when it felt like things couldn't spiral any further, Shantel walked back into the courtroom. No lawyers, no assistants, just her, still wiping away tears, looking like someone who had aged years in a single day. She approached the judge's bench and handed him a small flash drive. "This is a voicemail I think you need to hear," she said. "My mom doesn't know I have it." Doug looked up for the first time in over an hour. Jackie's face went pale. She looked like she had seen a ghost. For security reasons, the voicemail was played privately first. When they returned, the judge's expression had changed entirely. He cleared his throat and said, "This courtroom is now under seal. New evidence provided by Miss Shantel Christie will be played in full." Phones were taken, the press was removed, and the doors were locked. Then came Jackie's voice, shaky but unmistakably hers. "Chris, I can't keep lying. I know I told you she wasn't yours, but Doug doesn't know. I have to keep it that way. If you tell anyone, I swear I will destroy you. I'll say you harassed me. I'll make sure no one ever takes you seriously. Don't ruin what I have, Chris. Please. Doug stood up slowly. He stared at Jackie. His voice was heavy with heartbreak. You were going to accuse him just to cover your lie? And Jackie had no answer. Just when Jackie tried to speak again, her own daughter, Shantel, cut her off with a trembling voice. Mom, tell the truth or I will. That moment felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. Doug didn't say a word. He simply stood, reached into his suit jacket, and pulled out a folded paper. He handed it to the judge, who passed it to Jackie's attorney. After reading it quietly and nodding, the attorney confirmed its contents. It was a legal request. Doug Christie wanted full legal separation not from Jackie, but from Shantel. He no longer wanted his name listed as her father on the birth certificate. The courtroom gasped. People began shouting. Jackie stood up in a panic. You can't do that. She cried. You raised her. She's yours. Doug looked directly at her, pain heavy in his voice. Because you told me a lie. And I believed it. Shantel stood between them, crying so hard she could barely speak. I just wanted the truth. That's all I ever wanted. I didn't ask for this. Jackie sank back into her chair, completely silent. For the first time, the consequences were real. There was no spin, no denial, and no more cover-ups. Jackie Christie was finally facing the result of years of deception. And it didn't stop there. That same afternoon, VH1 made a public announcement. Jackie Christie's involvement with all future Basketball Wives productions has been suspended indefinitely. The reason? Ongoing legal troubles and verified misconduct during filming. Her marriage? Over. Her daughter? Heartbroken and distant. Her brand? Destroyed. Her reputation? In pieces. But that wasn't the final blow. Chris Webber's legal team filed a civil lawsuit, claiming Jackie had manipulated him emotionally, defamed his character, and threatened to ruin his life with false accusations just to keep him silent. They're asking for monetary damages, repayment for past child support, and something even more intense, a public televised apology. And yes, it gets worse. Federal investigators now have the voicemail Jackie left, the same one Shantel submitted in court. That's the one where Jackie threatened to accuse Chris of assault if he told anyone the truth. It turns out the same federal agents were already looking into Jackie's charity for signs of fraud. Now, everything is happening at once. Doug is walking away on every level, emotionally, legally, and financially. Shantel is caught in the middle, unsure who to trust. Chris is seeking justice and possibly parental rights. Jackie is under pressure from all sides: the court, the government, the public. When court resumed, the judge addressed the room in complete silence. He looked directly at Jackie and said, Miss Christie, if even half of this is true, then this is no longer just a family matter. This is about fraud, coercion, and deception on a serious level. Jackie looked stunned. She could barely catch her breath. Then came the judge's ruling. All assets tied to Jackie's charity were to be frozen immediately. A subpoena was issued for her emails and phone records between 2003 and 2005. And Doug was granted emergency relief from any further financial responsibility related to Shantel. As Jackie was escorted out of the courtroom, a reporter asked, Jackie, do you have anything to say? She paused, stared right into the camera, and whispered. He was supposed to keep the secret. And just like that, the microphone dropped. The internet exploded. Videos of Doug collapsing, Jackie whispering into the camera, and Shantel handing over the flash drive went viral within hours. Memes and reaction clips flooded timelines. But while people online laughed and gasped, what happened behind the scenes was far from funny. Jackie's legal team tried to delay further hearings by claiming emotional distress. But the judge didn't budge. Why? Because there was more evidence: bank records. Turns out, Jackie had sent money to Chris Webber over the years using a fake charity. The name? JC Holdings for Family Development. Sounds nice, right? Until federal agents found out it was a shell company used to send hush money to Chris. Over $70,000 was transferred in secret payments under fake identities, just to keep him silent. Things took an even darker turn when that voicemail Shantel brought forward became part of a new federal case. Threatening someone with a false assault charge is a serious crime at the federal level. Jackie is now facing investigations under RICO laws, which are usually reserved for organized crime. Meanwhile, Chris Webber posted a calm, emotional 3-minute video to his Instagram. "I never wanted to be the one who broke this open. I stayed quiet to protect a lie, and I regret that. Doug, I'm sorry. Jackie, I'm sorry. Shantel, I wish you peace, but not without accountability." The video hit 12 million views in one day. The comment section? Ruthless. You did the right thing. Doug deserves better. Protect Shantel at all costs. And Shantel? She now has her own PR team. She released a statement that shook everyone. "I thought I knew who I was. I grew up in a lie. I love Doug, he's the only dad I've ever known. But I deserve answers. This isn't about sides anymore. It's about truth." For a moment, the world paused. We all realized this was more than gossip. Real people were hurt. Lives were changed. Families were torn apart. And just when we thought it was over, Jackie made one final move. An anonymous source leaked that Jackie had signed a deal with a major streaming platform while in custody. Yes, you heard that right. She agreed to film a docuseries titled Unfiltered: The Truth According to Jackie. 8 episodes, jail interviews, and never-before-seen footage. In it, Jackie claims she was the victim. She accuses both Doug and Chris of using her, says the tape was edited, and even threatens to expose dark secrets from Doug's past. But here's the twist: the contract is only valid if she's not found guilty of lying under oath or tampering with witnesses. And yes, federal prosecutors have now subpoenaed all footage and show documents. Any new lies Jackie tells on camera could be used against her in court. Doug? He's gone quiet. Deleted social media. Left LA. Rumors say he's preparing his own lawsuit for emotional fraud. His lawyer says he's focused on mental health and rebuilding his life. As for Jackie, she could lose everything: custody of past earnings, brand partnerships, and every piece of her public image. Chris is now officially seeking recognition as Shantel's biological father. Not custody, but acknowledgement and truth. And Shantel? She just signed a book deal. The title? The Lie I Called Home. So here we are. A courtroom shattered by secrets. A family torn apart by decades of lies. A woman once on top, now facing possible prison time. A man broken in front of the world. And a daughter just trying to understand where she came from. But this isn't the end. No, the real fallout is just beginning. And when that final verdict drops, Jackie will either clear her name or bury it forever. So what do you think? Was Jackie just another reality star who got caught in her own mess? Or was she a master manipulator who finally ran out of moves? Let me know in the comments. If you believe Doug deserves justice, hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe, because the next chapter in this courtroom saga is coming soon, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. Was Jackie just another reality star who got caught in her own mess? Or was she a master manipulator who finally ran out of moves? Let me know in the comments. If you believe Doug deserves justice, hit that like button. And don't forget to subscribe, because the next chapter in this courtroom saga is coming soon, and trust me,